I'm the Hydrangea Daddy, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I would prune a Limelight Hydrangea standard like this one in Midsummer, which has got quite a bit of flopping going on. The goals for this prune are not to prune it down the same way you would in late winter, early spring. My goals for this are just to reduce some of the weight on these individual stems caused by the large bloom panicles. What I'm really trying to do is prevent any further rain from weighing this down even more, potentially causing some of these branches to snap. Because once you've got a snapped branch, you've got an open wound essentially in the plant, which can open the plant up to different kinds of diseases and funguses. So it's really in the best interest of the plant if we can get some of these stems more upright, more sturdy, and we can just easily take these blooms inside for a vase or another kind of display. So I've got a bucket of water here, which I'll put some of the stems that I cut for arrangements in, and we'll just kind of go from there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for little ones like this down here, which ultimately should have been completely upright. They're smaller than a pencil, so even in late winter, early spring, I would have ended up cutting this off completely anyway. It's coming straight down, almost touching these petunias down below, so it's the first thing I'm going to take out of here just to make room to lift some of these larger branches. Now you can see I've already staked this tree. Typically we get wind from south to north here, which is why everything kind of wants to lean towards the north. So I've got this staked here, just kind of already holding it up. You can see that just tugging on this, that it would naturally want to lean even more than it already is. This one here is almost straight down at this point, so we'll cut that out as well. Now what I'm looking for is the Ys where individual branches have grown out. So these two here forked from the same original branch. So I'm going to trace this back one or two nodes and see that, oh, there are a few more Ys on this, and there's a lot of weight on what is barely thicker than an expo marker. That's a lot of weight for a very thin branch. So I want to try and relieve some of this pressure here. So I'm going to actually, this branch is crossing and tiny, so we'll go ahead and take that out. Didn't even have a bloom on it. 3 or 4 right here that are just really heavy, so we'll snip those. Cut the individual ones off. So that's relieved some of the pressure here. You can see that, once you have blooms that flop like this, the plant does not have a natural tendency, once it's been several days or weeks, to immediately become more upright. So I've relieved a lot of the pressure on this branch already, but ultimately I think I'll probably end up tying 1 or 2 of these to an existing upright branch just to try and reinforce that strength. We've got several back here that are leaning on the house, which I'll also go ahead and take care of. Let's see. This one specifically is almost grown horizontal in the first place. It's also important to know that this is a hydrangea tree that is too big for this location anyway, so ultimately it's going to get moved out. So what I'm trying to do now is just basically create a healthy enough structure, as many upright blooms as possible, so that when it gets moved, it's not susceptible to any more damage at that point. This one is really heavy. So, tying these up should kind of do this side in nicely. So I'm going to focus my efforts here on this large group right here. There's a couple smaller branches here with blooms starting to form. I can see that's already a sagging branch. I don't want those to grow blooms at this point. let's see here. That one actually, well, sometimes what I'll end up doing is I'll take these ones which are, leaning down like this. If you can tuck them around those that are a little bit sturdier, you'll just get them up and out of the way and you can really see where the bulk of your weight is. I've got one branch here that is encompassing all of these blooms, and I think I'm gonna need to ideally take from the bottom, because you can kind of tie these up and it's more stress on the plant to tie a lower one up because you're gonna have to bend the branch even more. So let's see if we can take out maybe a whole section here at the bottom. Go ahead and grab this one here. Then I think maybe that one. Now, you don't have to cut them this long just for this kind of pruning if you don't want to. I'm doing this just because I know these are ultimately branches I wouldn't have wanted to encourage next year anyway, because they're so low on the hydrangea tree. But otherwise, you could really cut much closer to the bloom panicle, because that's where all of this weight really is. So let me find just a couple more here to take out, and then I think we should be good to tie it up. I think that will probably do it. I know it doesn't look like much, but that is a tremendous amount of weight that we've now removed from this hydrangea tree. So I can come in, I can just tie some of these up. Yeah, and that'll be perfect. Sweet. So if you have to prune a drooping hydrangea tree midsummer, which again is not the ideal time to be pruning any kind of hydrangea, nonetheless a panicle hydrangea like this one, this is how I would approach it. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next video.